Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minutes with Santi. Today we're going to talk about, is NYC dead forever? Well, certainly COVID-19 has hit NYC harder than my immigrant mother used to hit me when I got an F on my report card. I'm kidding guys, she never actually physically hit me. She just destroyed me emotionally and making me believe that I was literally killing her. Santiago, usted me está matando con esas calificaciones, me está matando, ay Dios mío. A LinkedIn article published last week by James Altucher, owner of Stand Up New York, very successful entrepreneur and podcaster, titled NYC is Dead Forever, Here is Why, got a lot of people in New York City very pissed off. The comedy community was going crazy. New Yorkers were really angry, particularly one New Yorker who happens to be one of the greatest comics of all time, Jerry Seinfeld, was extremely pissed off. The last time that I've seen Jerry Seinfeld so pissed off was when Larry King asked him if his show had been canceled.
I was the #1 show on television, Larry.
You were all...
Do you know who I am?
Jewish guy, Brooklyn.
Yes.
Okay.
Listen, we totally know who you are, Jerry. You are one of the greatest, and I relate to your article on many levels. I feel that it was very powerful, and as a comic that moved to New York City to pursue comedy, I totally get it, totally understand. The caveat to the article is that you wrote it, and you're not even here. You're not in New York City. You're apparently in the Hamptons or something like that. So this speaks to the nature of the crisis we're living in right now. Comics in New York, entertainers, anything that's actually based in New York City is zero, is gone. There's nothing to be chased in New York City at the moment. The only dreams you're chasing is if your dream is to panic and cry yourself to sleep at night. Being in New York City, paying New York City taxes with none of the benefits is like bringing a blind guy to a strip club being like, hey, look at all this, it's great, right? Well, you can't see anything and it smells kind of weird the entire time. It makes absolutely no sense to be here right now. As a comic who moved here, who's worked really hard, it's very painful, it's really hard to articulate how we feel because there's no guidance, there's nothing heading forward. To be honest, both Jerry and James are coming from a good place. They both want what's best for you. It kind of feels like a divorce when both of your parents want, to be totally honest with you, want the best for you, but they don't know how to articulate it. Jerry is definitely more positive, more like sentimental, like, don't worry, we're New Yorkers, we got this, we're gonna get through this. I don't know how to economically or logically articulate what I want to feel and say, but here's how I feel. New Yorkers, we can do this. Whereas James Altucher is way more about the numbers, the fact base. He's already clearly been through a lot of pain and he understands it. He's just stating out the facts. He's like the douchebag dad that it's like, hey, I don't want to be a jerk, but we got no money. We don't know why we're like, let's just get the fuck out of here. So Jerry Seinfeld highlighted something very important in his article that I want to highlight to you guys. There's some other stupid thing in the article about bandwidth and how New York is over because everybody will remote everything. Guess what? Everyone hates to do this. Everyone, period, hates, period. That's a very good point, Jerry. I don't know how many Zoom shows you've done, but they freaking suck. It feels like you're doing a conference call in front of a bunch of people that don't care what you have to say. They just do it because they have nothing else to do. They've watched the entire HBO, Netflix, and Hulu. They're just fed up with everything. You just go on Zoom to just see people cry. And this is where Jerry really hits it. Is that, you know why this sucks? Because there's no energy. Virtual stuff doesn't have any energy, attitude, personality, and cannot be remoted through even the best fiber optic. Freaking yes, 100% agreed. That's the whole point and the whole reason why many of us moved to New York in the first place. Boom. This is what Jerry Seinfeld's saying, which makes a lot of sense, and I relate to that. You ever wonder why Silicon Valley even exists? So I get that point, I get it, but there is the facts that James Altucher is highlighting that because we can't look away at this crisis, it's actually happening. If you're here, you're feeling it. He says, we all get it, New York has grit. I lived 3 blocks from Ground Zero on 9/11. I lived on Wall Street during the financial crisis and Great Recession. I was optimistic then. But let's look at the facts again, which is exactly what he's highlighting. Apartment vacancies are at an all-time high. That's 13,117 vacancies. This number will rise. That's an estimate, but probably true. 1 in 4 residents haven't paid rent in March. Since March. Deficits are at an all-time high. The city is drowning in $9 billion of red ink, $1 billion more than expected, and tax revenues will see their deepest decline in city history. That's probably true because 40% of the revenue to New York State comes from the 1% of wealthy people that are probably moving in the first place. More companies are leaving New York than ever before. They aren't leaving because I wrote an article, so James' article on LinkedIn. Yeah, if you had the power to do that, that'd be insane. But because corporates are serious about reality. Citi, JP Morgan, Google, and hundreds of other large companies are either leaving or going remote. So here is the freaking point of this is They both have valid arguments, and we need to look at the facts when seeing James, and we have to be optimistic and keep Jerry Seinfeld's view and the future of New York. It's not going to be the same. It's crazy to think that New York City will be what it was in 2019, but you can't go back in time. That doesn't work. It might have worked in the Avengers, but it doesn't work in this time. We got to face the reality. We got to be constructive, and we got to work to a better New York. I'm right here in New York City. I'm going to do a rooftop show tonight. What are you going to do to change the future of this city? You have to make New York City what it is, the greatest city in the world, but you got to do it. You can't just go to Jerry or James or blame people. You got to make an effort, and you got to work your ass off to make it the city that we've always been able to idolize. Thank you so much for watching 5 Minutes with Santi. I really appreciate your time. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate your support. Share it with your friends and family. My name is Santi Espinosa. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.